Hi there. One of the age-old questions that seems to get debated a lot on the internet is, what sort of lights should I put in my pole shed? There's a lot of options out there. So today I'm going to show you some of the pros and cons of using a UFO style light fixture versus using an 8-foot LED strip type light fixture. And then in the end, I'll fill you in on what I ended up deciding to do for myself. But first I'll give you a quick tour just so it avoids a whole lot of questions down in the comments. AC plywood, I'm gonna put up the bottom 8 feet and then the barn metal up above that. I got stairs. Yes, there will be a handrail. Yes, there will be a handrail up there. So here in the next couple weeks, I'm getting my boiler put in, which means I'll have heat, which means I need to put the ceiling in and insulate that so the heat stays in. And making this video has been on my to-do list for quite a while because I think the internet needs it. And I need to get this done before I have a ceiling, otherwise I don't have a way to temporarily hang and mock up the lights for the demo that you're about to get. This minor sun that you see up here is a Hyperlite Hero Series light. This is 150 watts, 21,000 lumens. It is bright. Holy moly, is it bright. You catch it with your eyeballs and it's bright. But I'm going to show you, I don't know if you can see the footprint of light that this one single light casts. That's 14-foot ceiling. So let's just say it's hanging right at 13-ish feet. I don't know, 13.4, something like that. It pretty much lights up this whole floor area here. The shop is 30 feet wide. I got light from edge to edge. I got light from, well, that. Let's just round numbers, call it a 30-foot radius on this light. That's a lot. This light comes from SLG US down in Texas. You can look them up online, slgus.com. And it is model TSB space G1. That's what this light is. 75 watts, so half the wattage of the Hyperlite, and 9,900 lumens, so less than half the light output also. And as you can see, it really is a lower light output, right? I wouldn't want just one of these in this shop. I got, I don't know, goodish light right down here, but it really peters out as you get away from it. But a person never puts just one light out in their shop. So one of the nice things about these lighting companies is they all have their own design software, and they'll help you figure out what you need to do to choose the right lights and get them spaced properly. So with these Hyperlite Hero lights, went to their website, clicked a couple buttons, and sent them my dimensions and ceiling height and what I was going for. And they came back, recommended these lights, 150 watts. And basically, the way the layout was, covers, let's call it an 8-foot radius, right? So this light, they said put it 8 feet off the wall that way, 8 feet off the wall that way. That way it comes over here, 8 feet, right? Because I'm 30 feet wide. And then this guy here will cover that other chunk. So I got pretty good light coverage here. I got good light coverage going this way. I cheaped out. I never bought a fourth one. I agree this demo would be much better if I had 4 lights, but at what, 90, 100 bucks a pop, this is all I bought. Anyway, so this is what I did. I had 3 of these things temped in here while I was building everything. I thought this was the direction I wanted to go, but I'll show you why I changed my mind. So the first thing that bothered me with these lights is they're so stinking bright. I mean, if I'm looking here, I got my hat on, that's all good, fine. But if I don't have a hat on, or you start looking up at something, well, look at that. It's like, whoa, that's bright. I mean, I'm not gonna complain about a bright light, but I'm gonna complain about a bright light just a little. They are really bright. They're like little suns up here, right? So that's the first thing that I had that was kind of grating on me about these lights. They're stinking bright. And then the other thing with the lights is because they're spaced so far apart, you get a lot of shadows. You get a lot of shadows. And I'll try to remember to do the same demo once I flip on the other lights. But you can see just shadows, shadows, shadows. And I tried moving them closer to the wall, thinking if I got close to the wall, then I wouldn't have as much of an angle and I wouldn't have as many shadows. But the problem I ran into is that they're just so bright. I had all this light washing on the walls and just, it looked goofy. And then it got kind of dim in the middle and I was gonna need to buy more of them. And I don't know, it bugged me. And then I did I'm going to work on something test, right? So here I am, standing at this table, and I got this thing here that I need to fix someday. And look at everywhere I put my hand, I got a shadow, and I lean over it, and I got shadow. So I got all these shadows, and I messed around with the layout for these, and no matter what I did with the layout, I always had a lot of shadows. It was hard just to get a really good even light, to not have shadows. And I'd say one of my higher priorities when I was figuring out what I wanted to do with lights is I really didn't want a lot of shadows. So I'll summarize these Hyperlights. Man, they're bright. They're not too expensive in the grand scheme of things for the amount of light that you're getting for them. If you got a big area to light up and you're just using it for storage, you're not going to be doing like a lot of regular stuff where shadows is an issue or being blinded is an issue, they're a great solution for that. They're 0 to 10 volt dimmable. So if you wanted to run some wires up there and put them on a 0 to 10 volt dimmer switch, you could do that. That's pretty slick. So that could knock down some of the blinding factor, but it still doesn't solve the shadow problem. They're really easy to install. You got a hook, so fasten that hook up to something in the ceiling somehow, and then it's just a normal old like appliance cord plug in. So outlet in the ceiling, plug them in, shoot. You could even just run extension cords if you wanted to. And the folks from Hyperlite will do your lighting layout for you for free. Now I'll show you the other lights. All right, I don't know how well it's going to show up on the camera because the camera's probably all compensating for light levels. So I got my helper out here this evening. So, but this is just the one light, and it's not that much light. But so the lights I ended up going with, it's got a phone interface. More on that later. I'm going to do another video all about these lights and why I chose these particular ones over all the other 8-foot strip LEDs out there. But I mean, I'll just go ahead and start turning on some lights, and you can see that as I start bringing things on, you know, it goes from not much light to, geez, all of a sudden the ceiling is glowing and I got light everywhere, right? So you can see I got a ton of lights. What is that? 3, 6, 9? I got 9 lights in here, and that makes it really bright. But I'll tell you what, that shadow problem is completely gone, and I'll show you why. So maybe we can do a side-by-side comparison here. If I'm smart, I'll figure out how to do the video thing. But you remember, I had like, I mean, it's darker-ish in between those, but before there was like some real noticeable discrete lines of shadows from like welding cables and stuff like that. And over in here, there was some real distinct shadow lines. Now it's just a little darker. And when I come up here and I'm working on this, right? Yeah, sure, I got some shadows, but it's like directly under my hand. I don't have shadows from my body, right? Because I'm like right here. And this is much better. So what I did to figure out how close those lights needed to be to the wall is I did a box test. And I don't know if this is a normal thing to do or not, but if you look in the box, you can see here I'm right underneath the lights. And this side where my fingers are, it's not casting a shadow in the box, not really. And as I got closer and closer to the edge, you can see how it starts to cast a shadow inside. And I'm like, that really represents the shadow line from the lights. So how much of a shadow do I want to deal with? And I use that to basically just keep fine-tuning the position of the lights up there until I'm like, you know what, I can live with that shadow. Because look at that, that's right up against the wall. I'm never going to be that close to the wall. My hands might. So basically, that's me doing this, and no real shadows getting cast. And I tried moving the lights further out, and I tried moving them in, and I ended up settling on that. That's like, I don't know, 4 feet off the wall, something like that. Anyway, box test, it worked pretty good. So you can see how I transitioned from one light up there. Ooh, and now I'm gonna pick up the other light, and it's all gonna be good. And yeah, see? Oh, that's cool. So you can do the box test to really see how your light coverage is and where you might possibly have some shadows at. All right, I'll do the box test here with the Hyperlights, and I'm just gonna walk around where these lights are here. So, right, I'm right underneath the light. I'll just walk from one light to the other. How's that sound? So you can see here now, I'm getting some pretty good shadows. Look at all the shadows in the box as I'm going from one light to the other. I'm right underneath it now. And then I'm over here on the bench, same spot I was before. So you can see that's a big difference. You just get a lot more shadows with these guys. And then other thing that I wanted was I wanted a light that was up above the garage door. And this one is strategically placed just, I don't know, what is that, 3 feet off of the wall there? Because if you've ever pulled a vehicle in and you're working on it, you put that garage door down, and if your lights aren't spaced correctly, like if you're working on the tailgate or the back bumper or something back there, you're always in the dark. So I wanted that one to be as close to the wall as I could get, so if I pull something in, then I got light on the back side of it, and the top side, and the front side, right? So here's the short version with these SLG fixtures that I ended up going with. They're a commercial fixture, and that means that you just can't go out to your normal retail lighting store and get them. While I was searching around for all the different possible options out there with 8-foot LED strips, I stumbled across bulbs.com, and I was telling them what I was looking for, and they're the ones that actually suggested these SLG fixtures to me. And I'm lucky because I have a little side business, so through my company, I was able to go ahead and purchase these. And you know, in the commercial world, there's not like a retail price. It's how much you're gonna buy, it's how much they like you, it's a whole lot of things affect the price. So these are definitely more expensive than the Hyperlights. I don't know, you probably would pay 150 to 200 bucks per fixture for these things, depending on volume and who you are and who you're dealing with and all that stuff. But the reason I chose these fixtures, trying to keep this to the short version, the reason I chose these fixtures is because they have motion sensors on them, they have light sensors on them, they're wattage selectable, they're color selectable. So I have them set up to do circadian rhythm, so they're nice and orange in the morning, they're wicked bright blue during the day, and then they get orangish at night. I got them set up so at 9 o'clock they dim down and remind me to go to bed. At 9:30 they dim down even more to double remind me to go to bed, right? I forget to turn them off, they turn off by themselves. The mezzanines on motion sensors, they're pretty slick. I'm gonna do a full in-depth video on these SLG lights here and the control system that goes along with them after the boiler gets in and the ceiling's in and insulated and I can keep heat in. Then I'll be able to slow down a little bit and do that video. I'll also be able to finish my walls, so we won't be staring at pink anymore. One other reason that I went with the 8-foot LED strips over the UFO style Hyperlights is because 150 watts is a lot of watts, and those fixtures get pretty hot. And the way they're mounted up there, the Hyperlights would be about 4 inches above my garage door when my garage door's up, and I guarantee you I'm going to have those lights on when the garage door is up. I'm not disciplined enough to shut it off every time, and I was concerned that that heat just baking down in the same spot on the garage door would mess up the paint or something, or if nothing else I get a couple weird spots for when the door was down. So as another reason, I was leaning towards the LED strips. I'll do some temperature readings on those and let you know what I come up with. Oh, damn, that's bright. I might need to shut these things off. Okay, that says 107. And this guy over here, hottest that is 73. 107, 4 inches away, that's pretty hot. So, you decide. In summary, it's not really an apples to apples comparison. It's more like apples and fish. They're totally different. Those Hyperlights, 150 watts, high intensity UFO style fixtures, they put out a ton of light. They cover a real large area with each fixture. They're great if that's what you need, but you got to deal with the shadows, and you also have to deal with these blinding orbs in your peripheral vision. And if you're looking for a more smooth light, you don't mind putting up more fixtures, right? If you want fewer shadows and you just want your ceiling to just glow, then then look into the 8-foot strips. And like I say, I went with the Cadillac, I think, of the 8-foot LED strips. Lighting was definitely my splurge on this project, but I'm really happy with what I got from these SLG fixtures. Once I get my ceiling done and I can keep the heat in, then I'll go ahead and I'll make a more detailed video about that, just in case anybody's curious. But hopefully with this video, I answered some questions for folks, because I know it often shows up online. What should I do for lighting in my pole shed? So hopefully this is beneficial for some folks. With that, probably see you next time.